Hello everyone and welcome, Spencer here, and today we're talking about lands, specifically the lands in the new Masters of Evil deck, which is the Davros Dalek creator. It could be Missy, but out of the box it comes with Davros. I have decided, did a little open the other day, and decided to keep Davros as the commander, and I have indeed decided to upgrade it. I played a couple of games and it's good, I enjoy it, but we need better lands, better mana to be able to cast some of the big spells. So before I change the spells and the mechanics of the deck, I want to upgrade the mana base so I can get a better feel for the creatures and the artifacts and all the synergies that are within the precon itself before I fully understand where I want to take this deck. I think it will be a mixture of dealing 3 damage to opponents, to each opponent, in order to be able to trigger Davos, and then maybe some ways being able to copy his ability and stuff like that. I think that's the way I want to go. I think that's probably where most people are taking with it. I did wonder about making him some like crazy type of Voltron thing, but I just thought that was a bit silly. Yeah, if we're just looking at mana base today, there is a lot of lands in this deck. 37 lands, and there's I think there's 2 islands, 2 mountains, 2 swamps. So when I say there's a lot of land, there's a lot of different lands. I've kind of gone through, no, they're the ones that I'm keeping. The Necropolis, which is the tap Grixis land, obviously the Command Tower, Exotic Orchard, Reliquary Tower, keeping all those. And then that's it, there's just 2 of each basic, and then the Fiery Islet. Very annoyingly in this deck, it contains a lot of the lands which they don't have the 3rd copy of, or the allied version or enemy version of. So obviously we've got the Izzet version of the Fiery Islet, but there's not, the others haven't been printed yet, so I can't get blue and black or red and black, I've only got the enemy colours, whereas in the filter lands there's only the allied colours, there's not the enemy colours. So I find that very annoying because I kind of want to have all my jewels be symmetrical, so I know I've got all those things, all the colours that I need with those, and then I can adjust for the colour balance ratio within my deck, within my basics. But hey ho, that looks like that's not going to be able to happen in this deck. So, first off, what am I doing? What am I cutting? What am I taking out? This is going to be a slow process because I haven't just got a load of money to go and chuck it out and buy everything. So I've highlighted all these that want to come out. The temples will come out at some point, but not just yet. So the River of Tears, this is good. It's basically an island unless you play land, and then it's a swamp. So it's probably a swamp for your first 4 or 5 turns, and then it's an island. But it's just annoying to keep track of. It's just an extra thing to keep track of in a game, so I just can't be arsed. Thriving Moor, which is a tap land. Then we've got the creature lands. They're both entered tap, so they're coming out. Terramorphic Expanse I've put to take out. I could regret this decision, but I'm hoping with enough jewels I will be okay. Path of Ancestry, it just comes in tapped. The Scry effect is nice, but it comes in tapped. This is one of the lands that comes in the deck. Exile this, and target creature's owner shuffles it into their library, so it's like a 5 mana removal spell, but it technically makes it 6 mana because you have to type 5 and then tap this. So 6 mana to shuffle something into somebody's library. It took it away, which is nice, but 6 mana is a lot to do that, especially when there's a couple of cards in this deck that do it cheaper. We've got Gallifrey's Council Chamber as well. If you control a Time Lord or an alien, you can tap this for a mana of any colour. Obviously that requires your commander being out. When I upgrade more cards in this deck, there'll be less Time Lords and there'll be less aliens. So I think I'm going to take this out preemptively, because if I don't, I could find myself in 6 months' time with a situation where I'm like, and tap this for red. Wait, no, that's a colourless. So yeah, once again, just something else to keep track of. But the Surveyor when it enters is nice, and it does enter tap. So yeah, there's the ones I've identified to come out. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 to come out. So I've got 9 to go in. Most of them is going to be basics. Filterlands, I think I'm going to leave in for now. depending on what I do with my artifact ramps. I'm not sure whether to go keep the filters and get the signets, or once I've finished building my deck, just get like a jet medallion or a ruby medallion, whichever I'm more heavy in terms of red or black. I imagine blue will mostly be my supporting colour in this deck, since I'm wanting to do damage to opponents in order to be able to trigger Davros. Blue will just be the supporting for counterspell protection and things like that. So I'm not sure about this. I might do these two and then get the red-blue talisman or signet to filter that way, to create more of a balance. But they could be on the chopping block, not quite sure. These ones, as already identified, I'm keeping. The temples, I feel I will swap out for shocks, but I will wait for Ravnica Remastered to come out, and hopefully the shock land prices will drop even further than what they're currently at. So those should hopefully get replaced at the beginning of next year, which is only like 2 months or so away. Actually no, Ravnica it's not January as it comes out, is it later? I can't remember. But yeah, Ravnica, they'll get sorted at that point. So we've got these ones, okay, Drowned Catacombs and Dragon Skull Summit. Enters the battlefield tapped unless you control a swamp or a mountain. So I was unsure about these, but then I thought, well, I'm adding more basics in, so I'm going to likely have more swamps, islands, mountains in the deck, as obviously basics are those type, so I'll keep them. And then keeping that in mind, I thought when I get the shocks, these are more likely to enter untapped because shocks are obviously count as both land types. And then that made me think about these guys. Do I keep these as well because they're both land types? But these actually enter the battlefield tapped, the cycling lands, or the bicycling lands because they tap for 2 or whatever. But these are great in the late game if you want to pay 2 mana, cycle it away and draw another card. But they also enter tapped, so maybe I should put them over there with their filters, and they're a maybe cut further down the line. These are the check lands, I believe. Oh no, 2 or more other lands. So these are the slow lands, I think they are. They're the check lands, and they're 2 or more other lands, I believe. Control 2 more basics. 2 more basics, yeah. I've kept these in because I'm adding more basics. Like I said, there's 37 lands in total in this deck. I would like to try and reduce that. I'll probably go down to 36. I think I could safely go down to 36. The 3 games I played the other night, 2 of the games I was sat with 3-4 lands in hand in turns 5 and 6. So that was a little bit frustrating. But that's probably also me learning this deck and understanding that I could probably mulligan a bit heavier. I think I mulliganed to 6 on one game or 5 on the other game, and that was still quite heavy in lands in one of those 2 games. The other game was just not good for me. So yeah, it's one of those things that when you're playing games, try and understand that the actions that you take at the start of the game, such as in mulligans and early game plays and stuff, will affect whether your deck is functioning properly later on. So lands that I'm bringing in, I'm going to bring in the pathways. I know they don't have a land type, but it's just good fixing to make sure I get all of the colours. I'm going to bring in the pain lands. Once again, they don't have the land type, but they give me direct access to those colours, which is the crucial thing, because 2 out of the 3 games I played the other day, I couldn't cast Davros on fall because of tapped lands, or not having access to that direct mana source as I needed it. I happily pay 1 to cast Davros on turn 4. So, as you can see, I don't have all the pathways and all the pain lands. So I've got 2 more pain lands to get, and I've got 1 pathway to put in. So that'll be 3, 4, 5, 6 lands to go in. How many did I say was coming out? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So I've still got 3 more lands to find. That is, one of them is Xander's Lounge. So maybe I will ditch those 4, and that's then 5 basic lands extra coming in, which I'll do the math on the colours for that. So I should end up at that point with the 6 plus 5, that's what, 11 basic lands. Those will be shocks. And then in terms of ones with land types on them, I've got those 2 as well. So there'll be 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 types of lands. I suppose I could get the extra check land as well. There'll be 11 types of lands with actual land types on them, which should be enough, but maybe not for the reveals, so maybe I'll ditch the reveals as well. I'll see how I get on with the reveals. I think I will get the extra, maybe I'll get the extra check land, seeing as I'm putting in more basics and going to get the shocks. Then maybe I'll ditch these reveal lands, and maybe that's what I'll do first. So yeah, so we'll leave it like with Pathways, Pains, Xander's Lounge, plus the extra basics. Temples are going to be replaced with Shocklands, and then these guys will be replaced with either basics or something else further down the line. So these are great in the early game if you've got, or you're flooding out, but like if you're not flooding out, then you know you've not got nothing to reveal, so it's just a tap land. It might as well be a guild gate, you know, or a Blossoming Sands, whatever those life game ones were. At least they do something then when they enter. Or maybe leave the temples in and replace those with shocks or something. So yeah, so that's what I'm thinking. So obviously it's got to, if I do all of this and all of these cards that I'm missing to be able to do that, I've got to keep it at 37s until I start adjusting the rest of the deck. So it'll just be a case of I'll just drop a basic out of whatever I need when I start to upgrade the rest of the creatures and the artifacts and talismans. Yeah, I'd say one of the annoying things actually about this deck is, I don't know, have I got it all in order? Oh, so these are all the creatures. Lots and lots of creatures in this deck. Yeah, when we switch across to the talismans, the artifacts, I think in this deck, yeah, we get two of them. So we get the Talisman of Indulgence, the Talisman of Indulgence, but we don't get Talisman of Creativity. So we get the red and black and the blue and black, but we don't get the blue and red. It's like, why, Wizards? Like, just drop one of these lands, you know, this random River of Tears, drop that, give us a Talisman of Creativity. Like, looking at the mana base, like, there's more than enough colour spread to cast everything that you've put in here with the Talisman of Creativity. It all gives you all three talismans within the deck. Do that through the rest of the precons as well, you know. There's no reason why that shouldn't happen. But yeah, anyway, very, very annoying. But we'll see what happens. We'll see what happens. Slowly getting better with precons. I think what's starting to happen with the precons is that the more obviously cards come out and get reprinted, the more low tier they become, or more commonplace those lands or those special cards become. Like, we talk a lot about like people having Smothering Tides and Ristic Studies, don't we, and things like that, but they've seen a lot of reprints recently and they're coming down in price and are more commonplace, and you're seeing them at more tables. So I wouldn't be surprised in 2-3 years time that we're actually seeing some of those actually just pop up in precons. You know, it's just like, yeah, most people are playing with this card. It's a common card now. Everyone's got it, so we can put it in a precon. You know, because it doesn't give that much reprint value, but it's still a desirable enough name to make people want to buy the precon to get an extra version of that card for one of their other decks. Same with like Smothering Tide, that went from 40 quid down to like, it's about a tenner now, isn't it? Something like that. So yeah, plus they'll be tracking the sales from these Doctor Who cards as well, seeing that, okay, right, people bought into the Doctor Who IP and they also bought the Commander deck with 50 new cards. Maybe we can put loads of new staples within these cards. Because this is the problem with precons, isn't it, sometimes? Like we saw it with like the... what was it? The D&D one, Adventures of Forgotten Realm, Party Time mechanic one, and there was a couple cards in there, I think, that become staples both in EDH and CEDH. But yeah. Anyway, I'm ranting, I'm talking about loads of crap now. Mana base. We're adding Pathways, we're adding Pains, we're adding Xanderlange, we're cutting some crap, and we're adding basics. In time, we will add in shocks. Probably add in shocks here, actually. Leave these in, and then maybe replace those with something else. Maybe more basics, or maybe it'll be some different types of utility lands that we'll leave. Maybe we'll get like a Shizo Death Storehouse or something like that to give our commander fear, or one of our creatures fear, so we can make sure we get through to do those damage. Something like that. Maybe a Wasteland if you're playing them in competitive pods. You could go like City of Brass, Mana Confluence as well for 2 of those. So you could do like 2 Pain Rainbow lands, I guess, and then 1 utility or something like that. But yeah, that's where I'm taking the mana base at the minute. I feel that that'll give me a better spread of colour and more untapped sources, so I can play things better. And then I'm going to move on to upgrading the rest of the deck, the creatures side, the spells and stuff afterwards. I've been doing a lot looking around, and there's people are doing some interesting picks of like what should go in and upgrade for this, and so it's just be like, okay, you know, I'm gonna sit back and stew on it a little bit before I commit to spending that money, you know. So yeah, expect to see this deck again in another couple of months after I've gone through a couple more paychecks and got some money to spend on it again. But for now, we're just going to stick with this and take it from there. So yeah, I'll keep you updated, and we'll see where this deck goes together. So if you're interested in Grixis and the Davros and the Doctor Who stuff, you'll be able to see how I'm doing this and developing this over time. I might even start tracking stats of my games and stuff. So anyway, enjoy the rest of your day. Take it steady out there, and I'll see you all in the next video. Bye for now.